Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive with myself, Erin Chandler. Happy Imbolc. I am really been drawn and called to sit down and do a spread for Imbolc to celebrate it. For those of you who are unaware of what Imbolc is, it is a pagan seasonal cycle, I guess you could say, and it is the midway point between the beginning of winter and the beginning of spring. So it's a midway point. It is a celebration of the coming dawn and the sunrise, and it's just a beautiful time as we have been planting our seeds and sowing. What also comes in with this for me is the goddess Brigid. She transcends religion and spirituality, making her appropriate for all faiths and none. That is part of a quote that somebody said, that she transcends religion and spirituality, making her applicable for all faiths or resonance with all faiths and yet none. So this is coming through as fire and water as well. She is the goddess of fire. She is also the healing element of water. She is also the goddess of poetry, smith crafting, healing, fire, probably a couple of other things that I'm missing. If you feel called and drawn to her, she is also a Christian saint, not just a goddess. She is one of the few to survive, even though she is pre-Christian. She was also deemed a Christian saint. So she embodies a lot, especially from the ire of the homeland of Ireland and Scots Isle of Man. There's so many different places. Turkey is coming in for this, a resonance for Turkey, also pan-European. I'm just trying to remember all the places that she has been or originated from, and I clearly am not catching them all, and I feel like that is irrelevant. I'm being called to do a spread for Imbolc, lighting candles as both ritual and sacred honoring of the energy. She also represents a triple goddess. And if we go back to Hecate, they are connected, but also different origins. However, they both embrace that goddess quality of as above, so below, the triple fire, the trinity of the self, the light, the shadow, and the balance in between. Goddess Brigid is also a goddess of fertility and honored at the midway point between winter and spring, because it is honoring all the work that is done underneath the surface. I am hearing her say, be still and allow the high tides and the raging waters to clear and cleanse and purge each and every one of you. The sediments that is left behind will be that which is the nourishment for the seeds that will poke up and out through the ground. So Imbolc is a powerful time on, I feel like, honoring the different cycles. You know, of course, there's the quarterly cycles, the seasonal cycles. There's the midway points in pagan traditions. There's also the monthly, the annual. There's all these different cycles that we have and can mark. And I'm being told to reference for somebody here, you don't need to do them all. You just need to do the ones that have deep and profound meaning to you. So for example, Imbolc is something I feel deeply. I can't even logically tell you why that is. I just know that that is, for me personally, is right for me. It's also about personal self-reflection. I also view this time frame as a very grounded, very reflective state. And I'm being told to go back to the balancing of the fire and the water energies, which is healing of the inner masculine and the inner feminine energies for each and every one of us. Although Imbolc is stated to be from February 1st to February 2nd, marking the midway point, it is really about honoring that deep self-reflection, moving into a reflective state, allowing yourself to just be, allowing yourself to perceptions, I'm seeing perspectives, see the many beautiful different perspectives of one thing, the different lenses that you can place upon one thing. She says, I'm also hearing, judge not, lest ye be judged. This is of significance for a number of reasons. When we think about the judge, this is actually another channel and comes through consistently in our communities, coming through in the channels through there, judging and being judged. They say, judge not, lest ye be judged. The reference of that is in truth and in integrity and honesty. To judge another is to judge thyself. And although it may not be viewed in that perspective, I'm being shown it as if I am the judge and I am judging you, I am actually judging you not because what you are doing is wrong. I am judging you because it is out of alignment of what is right for me. That does not mean it is wrong for you. Oftentimes, people will flow through being the judge for the reason of trying to hold steadfast to their own belief system. For if they were not to judge so harshly who you are or what you are, then they would have to reflect upon the state of their own belief system. So it's almost like they have to judge you or persecute you, is what I'm hearing. This is somebody who's dealt with persecution, being handed persecution for simply being who you are and doing nothing wrong. I'm hearing you have done nothing wrong. Simply being you and being judged and persecuted for it actually stems from the rooted system of unhealed wounds, of the belief that if we allow that person's belief system or that person's way of being to exist, then we may have to reflect upon the fact that ourselves, perhaps our beliefs are incorrect. Judge not, lest ye be judged, for you are judging thyself through a lens and a facet and a mirror that is not always seen and reflected upon in this state. So it's interesting that that's coming through right now, but it is a deeply reflective time. It is reflective through journaling, through being still, as Brigid said earlier, being still and allowing the waters and the high tides to rush through you and flow through you, washing, purging, and cleansing, so that you may be in the reflective state, so that you may see what has come to pass, so that you may see what seeds you have planted, so that you may see how the waters may nourish you in the future. I'm also being referenced, Brigid is showing me the fertility is important. Right now, a lot of people, even though this year is going to encompass a lot of very strange, odd, weird disclosures, truth more so than the last 3 years, and a lot of crazy chaos, to be able to sit in the observer state and reflect upon those experiences puts you in a position of power. She says it also puts you in the position of, again, she's showing me birthing, fertility, whether it's you're birthing a new idea, maybe you're birthing a business, maybe you're birthing she is saying most of you are birthing an entirely new version of you. And while that entirely new version of you may encompass or may include businesses, healing your health, having a baby, somebody on here is pregnant or having a baby. There's just something about a new baby coming into being birthed into the world. And that is so precious and so pure and special and beautiful. Congratulations to whoever that is. She is saying that she has blessed this child. This is so fascinating. She is saying that all children are blessed as they come through the womb. She says the purity and the innocence of a child that is a clean and clear slate is to be honored and recognized as sacred. She's also talking about, I'm seeing somebody's whoever this is that is pregnant, or maybe it's a family member. Let me tell you, one of your family members perhaps are pregnant. I'm seeing symbols on this baby's, on the belly of the mom, and the symbols are lit up, and it's the spiral as one going down to the other in the infinity, the infinite, but it is the two spirals. I'm not sure, Holy Trinity, I'm hearing for that. That is a specific one person message. So take that as it resonates for you, and let me know in the comments if this is resonant. There's somebody Irish, Celtic, Scottish, all of those different facets. But I've been talking for a long time, just listening and rolling with the goddess Brigid for her messages for Imbolc as a time of deep self-reflection and mastering and birthing new versions of you. She is going back to the fire. There are two things happening at once. Both the fire and the water are being balanced. Notice that fire rises and water falls. They are in complete opposition, yet an absolute union encompassing the full spectrum. When we look at it from that aspect, creates harmony. When one understands the balance of the union within of their own masculine and feminine, there becomes a harmony and an order from the disorder. She says, pull a card. Okay, I'm going to pull a card. I trust in what I feel, for what I feel are signs to pay mind to. So I will put that up close for you. This is such a beautiful card. I'm just going to scry with it. In it is the white bird, the white raven. I'm hearing trust in the magic, the white raven, and she is bent over backwards, candles surrounding her. And what is coming out of her hair and her mouth is thunder, a wind, a love. She is at the edge. Oh, extraction is the word coming through. It is extracting the poison of the experiences, the words unexpressed, the darkness that is settled in the inner being of the self, whether it is the darkness of the masculine or the darkness of the feminine within you. And I also have Enki again standing here wanting to make it very clear and known. This is not about men and women. This is about the internal masculine and feminine, your feminine ability to receive and your masculine ability to take action. It's fire and water. And Brigid goddess, this is why she's talking about this. She is the goddess of fire and symbolic of the goddess of healing of water, symbolizing the water. It is both elements in absolute balance, which means it then transcends religion and spirituality, becoming all-encompassing and inclusive. And I just want to move with this card. There are mountains around her, such deep ritualistic omens and pictures in this. The wolf is the dark, the white raven is the light, and both exist within her. So it's almost like purging. I'm almost getting with this image, this idea of an exorcism, which is so interesting because that's a very labeled, people have very certain ideas or concepts or images or visuals of what that actually means. Goddess Brigid is saying it is a birthing of a new you, to exercise, to extricate that which is no longer a part of you, that which was never yours to begin with, that which is no longer needed and has served its purpose, cannot be part of the birthing process in terms of when you arrive into the world. The birthing process is intense. There are contractions, there is darkness, and there is pain, and yet there is light and there is joy. I'm hearing dopamine. There's a certain hormone that you have after giving birth that's very powerful and profound, and it's being called weather divination, right? It's cracking the ice. It's birthing the version of you. It is total surrender and letting go. And I'm hearing devotion to self. It requires a devotion to self to move through that energy, to be at one with it, to birth a new version of you. Devotion to self is what it's coming through as. The next card coming out, slither through and out as you shed in preparation for a new beginning. Wouldn't you know, we talked about the snake and the shedding and why it was so important and why self-reflection was part of the shedding state. It is through the reflection we are able to identify that which is being shed. When we follow our emotions through the first card, it takes us out and through the shedding of the skin. For me, emotions are guides leading us to identify the thoughts and the things that we need to shed. The emotion is the driving factor that takes you there. But what is the thought associated with it? Because that's the thing that needs to be shed, or the pattern. So this card is so stunning and beautiful. I love that the candle is now upon her shoulder. I love that it's at a quarter moon, crescent moon. Both cards actually have crescent moons, when I'm looking at it. You'll notice that after she has purged, she then sheds through, slither through and out as you shed in preparation for your new beginning or your new birth. There must be an in-between state. This is what many of you are going through at this time. February has enormous energies. This state of reflection or this point of reflection is required to prepare you so that you may shed and purge, donning a new skin, birthing a new version of you, rebirthing yourself. The rebirth, says Brigid, and she's pointing me back to that full moon. You'll notice this is also halfway point between the last full moon and the upcoming new moon, which I believe is on February 11th, 10th or 11th. Anyway, she says you'll notice Imbolc not only lands in between the seasons, the midway point of the winter solstice or the first day of winter and the first day of spring, but it is also a midway point between the full moon that we just had coming into the new moon, the crescent moon. These are states of transcendence and reflection. She's coming through with that very, very clear. She's also referencing the bathtub again and the dawn. The bathtub is one of the cards that are in this deck. I'm just going to pull these cards back in and shuffle the next one here for the spread. Wow, the synchronicities of this are wild. Last card, 33, card number 33, peppermints. Take from me what keeps me held back, clearing myself from all that does not belong in the vision of what is to come. This is such a stunning, you can't make this up. I love the synchronicity. Again, the crescent moon is there. She is filled with peppermint leaves, sage leaves, birthing and rebirthing, now holding the candle. At first, the candle surrounds her, then the candle is upon her shoulder, and now she holds it in her hand, representing out of control with the first card and in control to the third. What a beautiful spread. I'm being told it is important that as we move through these different stations and as planets move and go direct and conjunct and quincunx, that when they move, it is a recognition that you are affected by them too. You are going through the process as the month of February, all these shifts and changes happen. There are pieces and parts of you that you held previously when the energies weren't so intense or chaotic or aligned or a higher frequency. Those states and versions must be purged in order to prepare you for this next phase of the journey, is what it's coming through as. The next phase of the journey, the new birthing of you. You are not, you will not, you are not, and will not be the same as you were previously. This is to be embraced. This is to be surrendered into, allowing yourself to flow with the changes and the shifts. Again, I'm hearing, I got the whole world in my hands. There's just this feeling of you're balancing through this process of this initial, if you have imbalances in the masculine or feminine energy within you, this is the act of purging it. As you release that, then comes in the shedding of the skin. I'm being reminded, do not forget, as you shed an old skin that has been hardened and weathered and crispy, almost like, the new skin is tender and raw. It is not used to the sunlight or the moonlight. It is just like a new babe. She's saying it's just like a new babe. It's to be held as sacred. It is to be tended to with loving care. It is to be bathed in the purest of water. It is to have fire around it, but fire to provide warmth, not to burn it. The distortion of masculine and feminine energy, she says, as above, so below, as the fire rises and the water falls. If there is all water falling, there is an imbalance. If there is only fire rising, that too is an imbalance. There must be a reciprocity and an equality of the two, allowing them to ebb and flow naturally with each other at the times that they are needed. Allow yourself to shed, my dear. Again, I'm hearing from the beginning of the channel when she is saying, be still and allow the tides and the water to wash over you and wash clean. Be still as you reflect and find the missing pieces. So she makes me feel like the missing piece is you. The missing piece is you. The shedding is all of that hid you underneath it. The whole of you, becoming you, the birthing process. I gotta pull one more card. This feels very soft and gentle and rooted and grounded and firm and balanced. That's the energy that this feels like to me. It is a slower pace. As many of you know, I do tend to talk very, very fast when I am channeling or teaching. I just naturally do. But this feels very taking your time, slowing the pace, smelling the roses, feeling the snowflake on the tip of your nose, feeling the winds blow through, soaking in a bathtub of water and relishing. I'm hearing like relishing in the feeling of the water on your skin, on the stillness, on the beauty. It is only when you take the time to purge and sit in stillness are you able to be replenished and rebirth. Think about the birthing process, she says. Ooh, so good. Next card. She says, think about the birthing process, that which has been born from the origins. So too does it return. So the healing and the hurts and the wounds, that which is from its origin will now be returned. There's something about that statement, and I'm not quite picking it up the way that it's meant to be. I feel like it's just flittering around in the periphery. But it's important that we are expelling the wounds and maintaining the wisdom and the pearls. The fourth card, I just had to pull the last card. It is the card Incense. You'll notice the state has come to a complete. She's raising the candles this time. We went from candles on the floor to candles raised around her. Again, a crescent moon. Incense. Allow the smoke to reveal the truth, clearing the haze while lifting the fog. So some of you, I'm being referenced of the fog of the mind, the fog of the subconscious, the fog of the energetic interference or influences of others, the fog of being unclear of where you're at. Somebody is looking for sure footing every step of the way, and that cannot be. You cannot be having sure footing every step of the way. That would imply that everything was already laid out. And while everything divinely is laid out, you are an active participant and must take a step forward. That is your job. The divine cannot deliver you anything, nor share anything if you are unwilling to take a step forward amidst the fog so that you can reveal the truth behind it. That's a stunning card. It's almost like, wow. And I'm just looking at the storyline of these cards that comes out. It's so powerful. And I trust that a lot of you are experiencing this right now in different ways, right? So if you look at the context of it, the first one is all of the candles are on the ground around her with the white raven above her, trust in the magic. Then comes the candle upon her shoulder as she sheds her skins with the serpent as one eye. And then we move into, again, the crescent moon, but now she is holding the candle, having taken control, having things start to sprout above the surface, having that growth and nourishment come from within her because she has purged what was in order to allow what will be. And what will be in the incense card, she is wearing a crown. The candles are no longer surrounding her on the ground. And this is a sacred reference to Brigid and Imbolc lighting candles as rituals. Notice that the candles are above her. They are floating based on the empowerment of herself. You will notice she began in the white dress of purity and innocence. And so too has she finished in the white dress of purity and innocence. The original white dress in the first card has lost all its wind or all its steam, exhaustion. Whereas the final card, the fourth, which if you look at it in dimensions, first dimension is the experience, second dimension is the expression, Third dimension is integration and understanding. Fourth dimension is transcendence, which is her in this beautiful white gown that is all that I'm hearing. There is so much wind in the sails. Carry the momentum, use that momentum. But we had to repair the tears. We had to repair the rips. We had to reassign or realign or move in a different trajectory based on the compass for the ship to sail properly. A ship cannot sail if there is no wind. And if it sails against the natural winds that pulls it, the resistance is so enormous. Flow with it. Be still as the high tides wash you clean. You will also notice in the last card, yes, again, the candles are floating around her, right? In addition, she's wearing this beautiful dress filled with the wind and the light and hope and faith and the divine. Her hair is braided and wrapped around her, no longer loose and wild as it was in the first card. It is a state of transcending, birthing a new version of you from out of this, exercising that which is no longer you. And then comes the fullness, the sacredness, and the queens. I'm hearing the song. If all of the queens had their kings on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast. The point here is step into your queendom is what I'm hearing for somebody on here. Perhaps you resonate with queens or that context, but stepping into your queendom requires the absolute purging of that original experience that is blocking, shading, distorting subconsciously where you are moving to. It's so fascinating to look at the different aspects. Again, this requires devotion to self, and this is Imbolc. It is devotion to self to replenish and nourish your cup. This is the month of self-love. Like, the alignments of this is kind of interesting, and I want to say, what are the chances? Well, with the divine, the chances are 100%. So it's really starting the month of love off, and Imbolc, this midway point of deep self-reflection and a devotion to self. And I want to say a devotion to your transformations, a devotion to birthing the new you. Again, Brigid is going back to think about birthing a baby. You require extra vitamins, extra sleep, extra water, extra rest. It is exhausting to birth a child. To grow a human being requires double of everything, if not more. In the process of transformation and this birthing process from one state or one version of you, rebirthing you in this queen energy, the crown, harnessing the energy, you utilizing and moving the energy rather than the energy moving you, because the energy moving you is the state of the first card, and the last card, the transcendence, the fourth card, is you moving the energy. It requires so much to grow, nurture a child within the womb of the mother. I'm hearing the mother of all creation. It takes so much to do that. It takes just as much for you to rebirth yourself. The state of self-reflection is what allows us to, or prepares us for this new version or for this birth. It allows us to discard that which we no longer need. And I am hearing this spread is complete. I am wishing you all a happy Imbolc, celebrating it however you celebrate it. I personally do not believe that everything has to happen on the pinpointed day. There is the energy leading up to it and the energy falling away after it. So however you celebrate, even if you don't celebrate, I am sending you much love, light, peace, healing, and transcendence as we all move into the month of love. And I hope that you all fill your cups and shed, baby, shed. Shed all the old and the wounds that we no longer need to carry. Until next time, beautiful souls.